conversations. Visit us at www.coderconvos to catch up on any previous episodes, or if you want to get in contact with us, I'm with my co-host Brian.
I'm Brian Russick, professional drummer, drum teacher based out of the Suffolk County, Long Island, New York area. If anyone wants to book a lesson with me, I'm going to be found on brianrussick.com.
And today we have Cameron Bolinger, Senior Unity Engineer. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Lovely to have me. So, yes.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for coming on tonight.
So yeah, you have a really extensive career in game development and specifically with Unity. What made you pick Unity as your primary engine?
Kind of just fortuitous circumstance. So I finished a degree in like physics and mathematics of all things. And it just killed me.
Yeah.
Physics, that's heavy. That's really
heavy. Yeah. And I double majored the whole time, and I missed the double major by like one course. And
wow.
I was like, screw it. It's an area minor. I'm done with this. I found out later I have numeral dyslexia. So taking a degree in math was probably a very bad idea, but
interesting.
Still, got through that, decided I like video games. I'll go get a master's degree. And I met my current business partner there. And she wanted to make a game as part of her kind of like, it's like the master project at the end of the course. And I offered to program because I was like, well, if you don't get enough programmers, it ended up being just me and her. And so I just kind of got shoved into that, and I excelled at it, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And been going ever since, about 11, 12 years now.
Oh, wow.
So it's like game development. Is that something that you've always wanted to do? Like since a kid growing up, you played a lot of video games and you kind of...
Oh, yeah. Games are my escape. Yeah. Yeah. I was a heavy WoW and MMO, like Blizzard all the way.
Like Blizzard. Okay. Yeah. We had one or two people on here from Blizzard. That was Kev. Was that our buddy Alex?
Yeah.
Was he at Blizzard?
Yeah, he was.
And now he's at Microsoft.
Blizzard, but
yeah, he's at Microsoft now.
Yeah, Blizzard. They made a lot of great games. So you got started with World of Warcraft, or?
Well, my buddies and I in high school, we'd always play StarCraft, Diablo, World of Warcraft. Yeah. So yeah, we were like very big Blizzard fans. Though, when I went into the physics math degree, I was like, I can't raid anymore. This is just too much.
Yeah. Now, how about RPGs like Zelda?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, awesome. I want to play, like, I haven't played the most recent Zeldas, but I was like hardcore all the Zeldas all the way through. Because, I mean, they're all like critically acclaimed and amazing games.
They're great. Yeah. I've been on the latest, or not the latest one. I think it's called Breath of the Wild.
I feel like it gets too big at a certain point. Like, when you make
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like walking around the map like, okay, where the hell do I go now?
And how many hours have you sunk in?
Takes a lot of the fun out of it. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I just got the Switch like a couple weeks ago. So
okay.
I don't know, maybe I put like 9 or 10 hours into it, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, that's actually a really good example, because that's why I got into making games. And for something like Breath of the Wild, you have a lot of like, you're building things. I know they have like a kind of in-depth crafting system in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Making games kind of filled that niche that playing games did before. So I did like city builders and that sort of thing, but like that creative kind of like interacting, like doing all the stuff in Unity, I get kind of that fulfillment that I used to get from games. Plus, I just tell myself that because I have absolutely no time to play games when you're making games.
Right. Yeah, imagine.
Yeah, I know that's a career where there's like a lot of with crunch time.
It's unfortunately an industry that has taken crunch and said, okay, this is just the standard.
Right.
And and unhealthy as standard is not good. But
yeah, I used to know a guy who worked for 2K Games. I think they're based out of somewhere in LA or north of LA.
Yeah, I was in LA for 4 years. Yeah.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, I spent
Probably in
about
the Santa Monica area. There's a bunch of game studios out
yeah,
here.
I spent about 10 years out there. I was doing music and stuff like that. But yeah, this guy who was working for 2K,
Mhm.
he was a QA tester, and he said, yeah, the shifts were 12 hours each.
And the thing is, half the time it's not even. I'm not going to get the studios off the hook because they need to put a stop to that. But a lot of times it's like you get that peer pressure that like
Yeah,
you don't want to be the first one to go home because everyone else on the team is.
it looks
Maybe they
bad.
don't have any work-life balance,
Yeah,
but it
right. It
looks
looks
bad
bad.
because they're
Sure.
just working too much.
Yeah, I've heard of like, people sleeping under their desk and, just working nonstop.
Yeah, it's not so much the dream career that a lot of people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I love
Oh,
games. I
how much
play a lot of games.
fun.
I
Yeah.
can go make them."
I'm having
And
so much fun.
yeah, they get a bit of a reality check, especially I'm more indie. So,
Yeah.
I've worked on some bigger projects. I did like some stuff for NASA and
Oh, wow.
yeah, that was actually my very first contract.
Very cool. What was that like?
I got to touch the Apollo lander. We
Oh,
were taking
wow.
pictures of the inside. They said, "Don't touch it," but we were leaning over it. So
Yeah.
yeah, um, yeah. We got known for like making like space and like kind of science heavy games, like educational game developers. And
Right.
so we were in Orlando at the time, and a friend of ours got a contract through Kennedy Space Center to make like VR apps.
Okay.
And that was our very first like kind of paying contract, was to make a suite of VR
Right.
apps with a
I
bunch of
think
other
I
studios.
saw in your background you did work at a company doing virtual reality. Is that right?
I've been pulled in on a lot of virtual reality projects actually. So I've actually been like a subject matter expert for Unity, helping their Learn platform and like optimization of virtual reality.
Oh wow.
I got pulled in on a couple meta things. They needed like a Unity. Basically, their back end for Horizon Worlds, they wanted people to make something like really nice. And they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
we want to get the developers involved." So I was like this go between of like, tell us without telling us to, fix the whole system, which I kept saying, like, no, you can't do that. They're like, make hacks
Right.
and workarounds. So that is
Right.
kind of what
Right.
I do.
Very interesting.
Mhm.
So, like, what is the future of VR in your opinion? Because it hasn't seemed like it's really been adopted as quickly as some of these companies would like it to. Like, what do you think is the holdup in? Like, where is it going?
It's got it. I mean, you say it hasn't been adopted, but I think it's reached a point where the major contenders in the market are out there. I mean, Apple tried to shove its way in earlier with a $1,200 headset that I was working on VR autistic learning games at the time. And as soon as the Apple Vision Pro came out, they bought one and they're like, "Oh, let's try and integrate this too." And I'm just like, "Well, none of the learners are going to buy a Vision Pro for $1,200, but sure."
Yeah. Right.
And they had zero support for Unity. Literally, there was a giant list of basic things in Unity like animations and textures and sounds that no API support.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you did it all?
Oh, no. I just basically told, like, I helped my engineering manager go through and just be like, nope, nope, nope,
Ah,
nope, nope, nope.
gotcha.
And then she spent like 3
Gotcha.
months trying to get it to work. So, no,
Wow.
that was definitely not my time.
Gotcha. Did you enjoy working on the virtual reality stuff?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do. I get a little motion sick. So that's
Yeah.
not always the best thing for me actually, that is a good thing because you wanna go, like your target audience. You wanna be if you're okay for the motion sick people, you're okay for everyone else.
Right.
But there's a lot of like hacks and tricks you can use. But yeah, I wanna get into console development. That's the only thing I haven't done. So I've done lots of VR stuff. I've done giant like tabletops for like conferences and stuff. I have a really popular mobile game that's cute and free, so everybody loves it. It's called Guinea Pig Bridge. I'm gonna plug that in there. It's about guinea
Nice.
pigs and bridges.
Nice.
So, what's been the holdup for you getting into consoles? You just haven't latched onto the company that works on consoles, or
I think console projects are pretty big.
Mm.
And so when diving into a really big project, a lot of stuff has to be set up on the back end. So that's something I'd like to seek like extra funding for, because a lot of times we do a combination of a lot of contract work. So we're developing things for other people, but then on the side, we're also balancing like all of our studio work. We're also sci-fi writers, my business partner and I.
Oh,
So we have
wow.
an agent in Colorado through the Legion literary agency. So she does a lot of writing. I'm her co-writer. She can write. I can't write. I don't know why I have an agent. I just got kind of tagged along
So
for the ride.
you kind of dabble in script writing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We started out doing TV scripts, but it was kind of morphed into novels and short stories,
Oh, wow.
sci-fi
That's
novel.
exciting.
Yeah, but book publishing moves at glacial speeds, and you know, if you think there's no money in indie games, wait till you get to book publishing.
Yeah, right. Right.
So like,
Yeah, we go to a lot of conferences, and there's the big hail is for sci-fi and fantasy is Worldcon. So I've been a speaker there a few times, and I remember a few years back we are in like one of the Chicago Worldcons, and we were talking at BarCon to her mentor. And her mentor, it's right after the Hugos. There's like hundreds of people there. These are people that just won the Hugo, like best like sci-fi novel of that year or whatever.
Right.
Sweeps his hand across the room and he's like, I can count on on my hand the number of authors here that actually make a living doing this. And I'm one of them.
Right.
So that's just the reality of the book industry, is just everyone has second jobs.
Yeah, it's kind of like music.
All creative stuff.
Or
Actually,
acting.
my
Yeah.
business partner is a harpist, so she came from music and
Okay.
games.
That's unique.
Like, how did you find time to balance, like being a coder, programmer, and also an author? Because I know coding itself is very time consuming. Like you got to spend a lot of time outside learning, etc.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I built up the skills over like 10 years. So, and I've done such a variety of work now that it's just, if I run into a problem, like, oh yeah, I remember that from a project like ages and ages back. And
Right.
then, I've already done that sort of code. So I am constantly challenging myself with new stuff. I was just doing like lip syncing and audio vocals for songs and everything to like sync it to characters. And I was trying to write some code to strip out background tracks so that I could just isolate the vocals and just push that. I had never done something like that before. I hadn't done a lot of audio
That's
effects programming.
probably like AI tech, right? That's able to do
Yeah,
that.
but you can't do it at runtime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's too heavy for like a mobile app.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I went with like a bandpass like filter thing. As a percussionist, you probably know more about like the kind of audio effects and Logic stuff than I do.
Yeah, I mean, I know a little. I dabble in audio recording, but mostly I focus on the drums and teaching drums, and that's kind of where my head remains typically.
Oh yeah. So I play a little bit of cello because I wanted to get into that to like play along with my my roommate.
That's a hard instrument. Yeah.
I know.
The cello is
Why did
not
I choose that one?
it's not like a guitar that you just kind of pick up and you're playing Green Day in like a day.
Yeah.
With a harp, I think, or
Harp's
cello
easy
rather.
mode.
Yeah, cello
Harp is easy
is
mode.
cello is tough.
It is. The
What made you
fretless
pick
is
that,
the
like,
best.
specifically?
I've just always liked cellos. I mean,
Okay.
just that's that. No pun intended. It resonated with me.
So, like, what are some of the more interesting problems that you've had to solve in your career?
Well, creative or technical?
Let's start technical, and then we can move over to creative.
Well, I was I worked for 3.5 years with a playground company called Landscape Structures, and they basically brought me in because they had this little server farm that would they had about 500 rep companies that sold their playground equipment, and the reps would make renders. But to make the renders, they would send a request to a render farm that had 3D Max, which is a you're probably familiar with it. It's a 3D modeling
3D,
software. Yeah. Sorry, it's 2 a.m. my time. So anyways, and so they had this render farm and it would take hours to get back. And the renders were, I mean, they were 3D Max quality, which is pretty decent if you put some time into it. I was brought in because they wanted to do it in-house. They're like, okay, we want this program that we can send to all of our reps and they can just create renders in 30 seconds on their computer.
Wow.
And so, you know, it wasn't a high bar to clear. And I was like, okay, let's do that. Then the pandemic hit. And they removed the GPU requirement. So they said, oh, we can't afford to buy new laptops for all our reps who have bad laptops. But now we want an under 30 seconds locally rendered on a laptop with no dedicated GPU, something with equal render quality to this Max farm that takes hours to build.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So what did you do? What was your
lots of virtual texturing? So you can actually like sample virtual cameras, so you don't actually have to send it to the render buffer for a GPU.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was doing a lot of calculations before it even hit the screen, intercepting that, and then I split the I was doing 8K, which was like the max Unity could support at the time, and then I would bump it down so the quality was there that I could sample all the pixels. I would break it into 16 parts, and then I would stitch those together and shrink it down.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it seems like a lot of the graphics engines, they use like a lot of visual tricks to kind of simulate.
Yeah, when it comes to something like that, it's not what you're doing, but when you're doing it. So I found out through, like most of my stuff, I'm all self-taught. I had one programming class in college, and the dyslexia killed me with the syntax. I was like, no, I can't do this. I'm done.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's more just when you do things for optimization. So if you can move things to, I'm going to do these pre-calculated renders, or I'm going to take a little bit longer and show a loading screen, or do this multi-threaded in the background. So you can load stuff kind of like behind the scenes a lot of time. There's a lot of trickery and like magic going on.
Okay, so what made you, I mean, how did you kind of fall into games? Like you said, you didn't really take any programming courses.
Well, like I said, I just got kind of pulled in by my roommate. And I think I always had the logic there because I liked putting the systems together. But I do remember I couldn't do hard coding, not for the life of me for a long time. But I did find Unity had a plugin called UScript. And it was basically Unreal's blueprints, but made for Unity. And so I started I'm a very visual person. Like literally everything said to me and I read just becomes pictures in my brain. And so I could do that, nodes of like on mouse click, change color of this thing. I remember the very first thing I did was make a planet rotate for like, we were making a Mars colony simulation game. But I digress. So I got into that, and it was just from there, just pushing myself a bit farther. I would always accept contracts where I knew, I would say 80, 90% of it, but that last 10% is where I grow.
So that's pretty interesting hearing about that progression. Like you didn't start off like just coming out, just being the master program. You kind of started with some visual stuff.
Oh, no.
Transition. So.
Yeah. I feel a little bit, I get a little bit of imposter syndrome when I'm next to programmers come out of college like that, because they know all the terminology and they're talking about like these things. And I'm just like, well, I've used them. Like I used singletons and for ages and ages. I didn't know they were called singletons, but I knew this programming structure and I knew that it worked really well for the logic I was using.
Or
but
like,
I didn't know it was
like time complexity and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. So whenever I like interview for like a contractor position and they're like, let's do a coding test. I'm like, I'm going to fail it.
All right.
I have 10 plus years of experience and 24, shipped projects under my resume.
Right.
But sure, let's fail a coding test.
Let's do leak code. Yeah, let's test
Yeah,
you
let's
on.
do leak code where you're asking me basically number riddles.
Yeah, I interviewed for Google one time, and basically it was 2 medium leak code questions, and I just kind of looked at the guy like, "Look, I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to be able to do these." He's like, "Oh, just do your best, do your best." And I said, "Well, literally, no, I can't do this." So he kind of
Oh my
shrugged
god.
and said, "Okay, well, I guess we're done here."
Yeah, I mean,
And
do
that was
your
that.
best.
Yeah, that was
Do you
that.
actually believe that? Do you actually believe that if you tried and did your best, they would hire you? No. That's the point of the
I
leak
think
code.
it's a filtering mechanism.
Yeah, just what is it filtering though?
That's the question. Yeah,
Yeah, a lot
that's
of
the
people that's
question.
getting hired, they're not necessarily good programmers. They're good at doing leak code or the small domain to pass the interview, and you have to.
Exactly. I kind of drift toward things. I know the Florio contract, the very first thing they asked me to do was we have a paint by numbers lesson and there's an elephant and we just want the elephant to like come to life. So make this 2D elephant like jump out of the page and I just like put like paint effects on it and stuff. And so it looked like a painting just like springing to life and like all the colors would go splashing out and everything. That's what I love to do.
Mm, yeah, like practical and allows you to creative. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Mhm. And I have a lot of skills outside of Unity, so I do like 3D modeling
Mm,
and rigging and anime. I've been an indie dev for a long time, and you have to wear all the hats
yeah,
Did
because
you
yeah,
have to learn like C sharp, C++ for gaming?
I haven't learned C++. I've been a little afraid to just because of I
Its reputation. Yeah.
yes, I just did a contract, and the other programmer was really nice. His name was Justin, and he's fantastic, but he came from a C++ background, and he programmed this app in Unity, but he was using kind of these C++ kind of
yeah,
like logic patterns, and I thought I knew programming, and then I got
Right.
into that back end and straight over my head, and I was like, I don't understand anything that's going on.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
insane.
I mean, it's like for me, that's what, jazz is in music. You show someone, okay, Oh Blah Dee from the Beatles.
Yeah.
Okay, I could play that in an hour. But then you show someone, Coltrane, A Love Supreme, and it's like
Mhm.
I have no idea, when you first hear that, it's like I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, like all the things that you learned about music just
They just go
don't
out the
apply.
window. Yeah, they go
Yeah,
out the window.
yeah. You
but
just
I mean, it's still a very good experience to, be thrown into the deep end on think of that in a relatively safe like space. So nothing was like super riding over that. I still got all the programming done. I just took a lot longer to do it
Right.
and learned a lot along the way.
yeah. That's really when you learn is when you're kind of in that pool of you don't
Yeah.
really know what this is and you're struggling and you just have to struggle. That's just that is where you learn the most.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the biggest issues with like indie game development, just game development in general today is just you don't have a lot of people skip that struggle because they gotta move forward. When I got my start, before we started getting contracts rolling in, I was working 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. folding clothes at the Gap, and then I'd come
Wow.
home and do programming on our games until they released.
That's wild.
Yeah. Oh, and I was doing Airbnb on top of that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a hustle. Yeah.
America has that hustle culture that,
Yeah,
Yes, we
you
do.
know, I'm glad I
Yeah.
kind of escaped that because it's
Yeah.
so much more chill here. And it's
And
just,
where are you? Where are you right now?
I'm just outside of Budapest at the moment.
oh
Oh,
wow.
So,
wow. Awesome.
yeah, my partner went out to Budapest and I've been here for a little bit with her and it's been absolutely fantastic.
That's amazing.
So did you decide to move just for the lower cost of living or just to experience something different?
It's kind of a long story. She
Okay.
almost died in Romania in 2023. She got COVID for the first time in 3 years. She hadn't traveled at all, and she wanted to write a story about tiny undead dinosaurs on a Transylvanian estate. And for some reason, she wanted to make it historically accurate. So she had to go see this estate of this baron called Baron von Nopscha. I think I'm getting that correct. Who lived in Romania. He actually discovered island dwarfism, and he was the first person in history to hijack an airplane. Anyways, so she's like, I have to go see this estate. She gets sick. She had to go in for emergency surgery. And she called me. I was back on the West Coast, 9 hours behind her at the time. And I literally dropped everything in 20 minutes. I said, I'm on my way. I threw 4 pairs of shoes and like no underwear into a suitcase and went to the airport and said, give me the first flight to Bucharest.
Wow.
And I had never been to like mainland. I've been to Dublin once for a conference, but never been to Europe.
So
before.
you didn't really know what to expect.
No, not at all. I got attacked by a sheepdog when I got there, and I saw a guy peeing in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Which it was a taxi driver, and I asked another taxi driver if that was normal. So literally, he didn't even pull over. He just kind of opened his door, and he stood in the middle of the road peeing.
Oh wow!
And the other taxi driver was like, "No, that's not normal." So I was like, it's not a cultural thing. It's just that guy's being weird.
Right.
But on our way back, we went through Budapest and for one day, and we were walking in a park, Városmajor Park, and I said, "This is lovely. Let's live here." And then 10 months later, we actually moved into a flat. That was 5 minutes from.
Oh wow! Isn't that funny how sometimes things like in a synchronistic way work out that way?
I kind of use that as an example of like that call I got from my partner. She literally called me and said, they gave me 15 minutes to call friends and family. I'm going in for emergency surgery, like life-saving surgery. And that was one of the worst moments of my life. And it led to, some of the best moments of my life now.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I've always been a sort of just go with whatever.
Go with the flow. Yeah.
Go with the flow, explore,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like what cultural adjustments did you have to make, going from maybe like the United States to where you're
Hungary?
at now? Yeah.
Well, I thought it was going to be really tough to get rid of the car because America's a very big car culture. So I was like making plans and being like, oh, I have the car. No, it's not it. I don't miss it at all. You don't need it here. I have literally 18 ways to get down to Budapest I'm in a little town called Szentendre right now.
And that's kind of like Manhattan, New York.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people don't drive. Yeah, a lot of people don't drive.
The good thing is the cities aren't built for cars either.
Oh,
so they're very walkable. I can get on. There's a bike share called Molbubi here, and you can get on these bikes. There's thousands of stations throughout the city, and you just get on the bike for it's like 1,000 forint a month, which is like $3. And you just get the bikes for free.
Right.
And it takes 20 minutes to just bike across the city. So it's like the 20-minute city sort of thing.
Oh, wow. That sounds fun.
Yeah. Another adjustment was the language. You think cello's hard. Hungarian is the second hardest language in the world to learn.
Yeah. And why is that?
Mandarin.
Why is this so difficult?
It's a language isolate, meaning it doesn't pull from like any of the Romantic languages. There's like some relation to Finnish, but it has 35 noun cases. So a bird that you see is a different word ending than a bird normally. Like a bird would be madar, and then madarat is like a bird that flies, I think.
Right.
Yeah, it's just so these nouns all change. It's very poetic, kind of like my roommate calls it a snake language.
Yeah.
We would say eggy, shaggy, shaggy, shag when we didn't understand something. But a lot of people speak English here. We told our friends here that we're learning your language. And they're like, why?
Right.
Just speak English. It's easy.
Speak English, the national language. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get by well enough. I can say ne meritem, which is I don't understand.
Yeah.
And I say bezlik ongo, which is like, do you speak English?
So is there like any prejudice towards Americans over there? Because I know we're probably not that popular, globally right now.
Oh yeah, actually,
Especially now.
yeah, I got sucked into a thing where I had to give a presentation at a bar downtown, and I didn't realize I was doing that, like an art thing. I was like, oh, okay, I'll like help out with this thing, and suddenly I'm giving this presentation, like about really personal stuff. But after that, the people that showed up for that it was right before the election, and all they wanted to talk about was the election. But naturally, I think that's the main thing, is that when people know we're American, they wanna talk, like, politics and
They
stuff.
want to
Yeah.
talk politics. I was just going to say, like the Europeans I met when I was younger, they're like, oh, blah, 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 Barack Obama, this, blah, blah, blah. What do you think? What do you think about this? And
Yeah.
me and my band members are just looking at each other like, I don't know. I don't even really follow politics.
Yeah.
So it's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we came here to get away from that, so
Right,
we
right.
we don't wanna talk. I mean, we have a thing of, like, if we meet another American, we count the seconds until someone mentions politics.
Wild.
So you
Yeah.
mentioned it was like the lifestyle is like a lot more laid back compared to America. It's not the grind culture.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, I ran a creative meetup for like the first kind of year and stuff here. And that was for basically it was a co-working meetup. I have ADHD, and one thing that helps with that is body doubling. So just somebody doing something similar right next to you. It just keeps you focused as well. And so we had this creative meetup where we'd go, and then everyone just work quietly on their projects for 45 minutes, and then we'd talk about our projects, and then we'd do another sprint. And so many people, like, showed up to that because they have time. They're not working 2, 3 jobs just to, have a crappy apartment. I'm not gonna paint a super rosy picture because, Hungary's economy isn't the best and the forint's not that strong, but
Sure.
there's a safety net here too. So people, if they don't have a job, aren't worried about, being on the street or anything.
Yeah, it's very different.
It's very different. Also, the architecture is unbelievable.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. I mean,
Oh, it's beautiful.
when I was in Europe, I was really floored by Switzerland, the
Ah,
mountains.
I was
It
gonna ask if you went
is,
to Prague.
N-
Every American goes to Prague.
I don't remember, possibly.
It's closer to Switzerland. It's that
Okay, but yeah,
direction.
Switzerland was, it was just on another level. I never seen mountain ranges like that.
Oh, yeah. No, but it's hard because Switzerland is also very expensive for tourists. So it's I don't know. We like the Eastern Europe because it's a bit rougher. I've been down to Croatia,
Right.
I've been to Bulgaria, I've been to Serbia. I had a weird trip to Bulgaria and came back through Serbia and stuff. And I do like Hungary. I do like it's just quirky. Hungarians have an interesting culture. They're quirky. Are you familiar with the concept of coconut cultures versus peach culture?
No.
Nope.
So America is peach culture. Everyone's going to smile at you on the bus. They're going to be nice to your face. So they're soft on the outside, but they've got that hard core. It's really hard if you're, like there have been instances of bystander effect where, somebody is bleeding on the side of the road and everyone just passes them by. So Americans are kind of, it's much harder to become very close to somebody. But Hungary is more of a coconut culture, which is the opposite. People do not smile at you. People do not they don't we don't have a tipping culture with waiters or anything like that. There's no superficial kindness. They're gonna just in general just be
It is
but
what it is. Yeah.
exactly, but they're soft on the inside. So you get invited for our friend, we got invited over to one of our kids' graduations. So I was in the middle of the woods at a Hungarian middle school graduation. Then we went back and we drunk Palenka, and you get invited to something like that, and suddenly like I would die for you in battle, sort of thing.
That's
You've known
amazing.
me for a day.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seems like the culture is a lot less isolated compared to the United States. Like you mentioned, U.S. You meet somebody, it's like they don't want anything to do with you unless they spend some time getting to know you. Whereas over there, you seems like you make friends a lot easier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was in a theater, and there's also just so many different people here. I think they're used to reaching out. I was in a theater group, and the first meeting I went to, there were 11 people from 10 people from 11 different countries. I was
Wow.
the only American. There was a girl from Mongolia. I didn't think I'd ever meet anybody from Mongolia, but
Right.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Like in terms of employment though, like are you working remotely for an American company, or are you working like with one of their companies, but they're kind of
so
like
I'm on the remote working visa right now, white card. So what that means is I cannot make money from any Hungarians.
Oh,
It's
wow. Okay.
Yeah, it has to be foreign clients. I have my own company, so I make money off of the games we sell.
Right.
But we also do client work, and it goes through my American company, and then we pay ourselves out of that after expenses. So,
Nice. Nice.
yeah. So as long as I'm doing that, that's fine.
okay, interesting. So it's kind of like the digital nomad experience. I know, like in Mexico, the locals they're kind of mad at all of Americans going over there. Are you finding a similar thing over there? Like they feel, well, I guess probably not because there's probably not as many Americans going over there.
Tourism has been a thing that's kind of bad here. Right now, we're at the height of tourist season, and it's just so hard to get around. There's just people everywhere. I know I was talking to a girl from Portugal, and she lived in Hungary for 9 years. It's funny because I was like, "Oh, what do you do for your visa?" And she's like, "I don't need one.
Yeah.
I'm a Portuguese citizen. I can just come to Hungary and live."
Wow.
And that is so
Right.
weird.
That's wild.
Yeah, and so she'd been there, but I was like, "Why didn't you live in Portugal?" And she said, "I can't afford any of the houses because they have one of the, they're like one of the top spots for remote working visas that I'm on.
Oh, okay.
All the Americans go to Portugal, and now all the housing prices in Lisbon and Porto and stuff are just through the roof, and locals can't afford to live there.
Wow.
So I would suggest if you do like come over and you want to stay or move to Europe or something like that, being more involved in local culture and bringing something to Europe, not just this is a place I can live and spend less money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's the way we approach it.
I
My
can see that.
Yeah, my partner does Hungarian folk singing as well.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
wow.
Yeah. So, and the intonations on the folk singing, like they have to be like really perfect. So, like she just gave her performance and with her group like a little while ago, and they said like the intonations were really, really good. So she's super proud of that.
That's awesome.
So like,
Mhm.
are you fully integrated, or do you still kind of feel like there's still some adjustments to be made for you to feel like 100% comfortable there?
I mean, it would be nice to know a bit more of the language. I think that would be the main adjustment, but I would say we're pretty much fully integrated. I mean, we strut our stuff like locals. And
Yeah.
I know all of the transit maps. I know all the train station stuff. I know never to go ever to Nugatti in the middle of the day on a Monday because everyone smokes, and I'm allergic to cigarettes. And Nugatti is the worst.
Yeah,
But it's a
that's the
beautiful.
thing about Europe. Like everyone smokes. I remember, I was playing a show inside some bar and everyone was
Mhm.
smoking inside. And
Oh,
so,
yes, some countries will have that, and, like,
I'm
the
sitting
non-smoking section,
there.
outside.
Yeah, so like I'm sitting there setting up my drums and I'm like coughing and I'm like, I can barely breathe in here. That was in Germany.
Oh, that was in Germany, okay.
Germany. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw that in Serbia. In Serbia
Oh,
and
wow.
Bulgaria. Yeah,
Okay.
that was pretty bad. But, in general, like, I think it depends on where you go in Europe. some places are going to be a little bit easier to integrate. When we first landed here, we landed in Vienna and we stayed there for a week.
Oh,
And then,
beautiful.
and then when we came over here, we stayed at Buda and Pesh. They were two cities until they were reunited like 170 years ago, I want to say. But Pesh is very different, and we stayed in Pesh, and we're like, why did we do this? We should have just gone for a visa in Austria and stayed in Vienna. It was so lovely. But I think Buda was a lot nicer. So once we got over to Buda, we got, I do not regret our choice.
So like, what are some of the survival strategies for someone who has never really traveled and they want to kind of maybe look into moving to Europe?
Oh, I have some survival strategies. I am bad with trains. I have terrible, terrible luck with trains. When we were coming from Romania to Budapest, that one day we spent in Budapest, I actually was completely wrecked. And that's because when we got on the train, they gave us a sleeper car, but my roommate had just had bowel surgery, my partner, and she couldn't even like get on the top bunk and stuff. So they upgraded us. But the Romanian train did not have any credit card swiper or like, tap to pay or anything like that. They wanted Romanian money. We got rid of the Romanian money because we were going to Hungary. So none of them spoke English. I was using Google Translate at the time, going back and forth. And so we came up with this plan. This is 1 a.m. in January, that I would, at the border to Hungary, they were going to stop for 15 minutes and they were going to uncouple half the train. When they stopped, I was to get off the train, run up an escalator, run back down an escalator, run out of the train station, run 4 blocks to an ATM, get money out of the ATM, run all the way back, and get back on the train in 15 minutes. If I missed that, they were not waiting for me. And my roommate was going to Hungary with no way to even lift her suitcases recovering from surgery.
Wow.
So it was that sort of, and so all I'm wearing is just running clothes that were very light and just holding my passport and my phone and my wallet. So if I got stuck, I was in the middle of the night in January.
Right.
I have never done something so horrible.
It sounds like quite the scenario,
So bring money on trains. I got back there and I gave them the money. I had 1 minute to spare, and then I went and I cried and threw up for 20 minutes. It was awful.
Okay, I can imagine.
Bring money on trains. Just have cash in general. Just have cash. You might lose a few dollars when you can't exchange it when you come back. It is worth it.
Yeah.
That's a survival strategy.
Awesome. Like, what about when it comes to finding a place, especially if you're going to stay long term? Like, how do you go about that? Like finding a decent place for a long.
They have sites here, like in Gatlin and stuff, and it wasn't too bad actually. In general, we always had a lot of issues in the U.S. when we were renting because we're self-employed. We have our own business. We have these contracts, but they always wanted to see proof of employment. And so my mom is she's a corporate asset accountant. And so she's run all of our taxes for years. And I would always have to get letters from her stating they make this money and blah, blah, blah. And she did not even put her name because she has a different last name than me. She would just say Monk's Accounting ink on it. And so that's how we got by in the US. Here, they don't care about any of that. You just say, I want to rent the place, and they don't even ask you, do you have a job? Because there's social safety nets.
Right.
It was in our first lease that if we couldn't pay, the government actually has this thing where they step in when somebody's being evicted so they don't go on the street.
Wow. That's very different from Los Angeles. I'll tell you that.
I've lived in Los Angeles, and I came from Portland before here, and it's just
Portland's pretty chill city.
It's chill, but it's also very since the I was there during the pandemic.
It's gentrified now. It's really changed. It's expensive now. Yeah, it used to be cheap.
I was in Vancouver, right across the river, and before I moved, I tried to get rid of a couch, and I put it on the curb. I put a free sign on it. I put it up on Facebook and said, somebody come get this couch. It's a nice couch.
Right.
I had to call the cops actually, because later that day somebody started doing drugs on the couch and wrecking it in broad daylight.
Wow. And this
So I had to
was
bring it
in
back in, clean it, and then take it to like a Goodwill or something to donate
this was
it.
in Vancouver.
Yeah, Vancouver.
Okay.
Across the bridge from Portland.
So, like, what is your perspective on America now that you've been living overseas for quite a while? Has it kind of shifted your perspective?
Yeah. I think I might be going back soon for a little while, but that's a really hard adjustment. I think the easiest way to sum it up is a lot of Europe is frictionless, or living here is frictionless. In America, there's so many things that are put on you as an individual to just figure out. Whereas here, the responsibility is a lot of times shared by like companies as well as you and that sort of thing. And it just seems, for example, my first visa, I wrote the date backwards. I'm dyslexic. And they
Right.
also write the date backwards here. So I was trying to do backwards of backwards. So instead of getting November 11th, I got, November 6th, I got the 11th of June. And I didn't realize until July that year. So my visa had already expired.
Oh, no.
And I was like panicking and everything. I did not know what to do. But, like we went down to the Directorate of Aliens Policing, and largely, they'll just overlook any of that stuff. They're like, okay, well, you didn't turn in a paperwork on time. It's fine. Like,
Wow.
it's just when something happens like that, there's not that sticking to company line of like, well, it's our policy.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me think, in terms of America, it makes me think of the DMV. You go there
Yes.
and you better have the right documents, you better have the right credentials, or you're going to be, not thrown out, but
Oh, yeah.
they're going to say, all right, come back, come back, come back.
So when I moved from LA to Portland, I needed to change my plates. And so I sent them a letter, and this started off an odyssey that took a year and a half to get my title and my plates moved. It was like a 4-week turnaround both ways, and they would only accept letters at the time.
Wow.
So it was 8 weeks for each of these letters, and they kept telling me the next thing they need one at a time. I'm like, just tell me everything that you need. At one point, I overpaid them by $1, and they sent it back. Just keep the $1, please. God. So yeah, it's that sort of nonsense of like, just, it shouldn't take a year and a half to do that.
Yeah, I mean, how do you like Portland?
Oh, Portland was fantastic. That's actually, I do miss the nature and stuff around Portland.
Yeah, all the trees.
Oh, the
It's
hiking
beautiful.
and everything
Yeah,
was just
it's beautiful.
super fantastic. But we've got stuff here. I mean, we have a state park called Normafa, and they have a railway run by children.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a holdover from Soviet times. They don't like force the children to do it. The children just, it's more of like a volunteer program thing, but they run all of it. They were like doing like all of the paperwork and everything in the office, like the head child is.
Oh,
They
wow.
take your tickets and everything. Yeah. The only thing they don't do is drive the trains, which I can kind of agree with.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
So, but yeah, if I did go back to the US like full time, I would love to go back to like Portland would be kind of where I could live.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. You're both on the East Coast, right?
No, I'm in Texas. Brian's
he's
on.
Oh, you're in Texas.
Kevin's
Okay.
in Texas. I'm in Long Island, New York.
Okay. I lived in Florida for 4 years and then went to LA and then up to Portland, and I grew up in the Midwest, but I was born in LA. So I've been like big.
Oh, wow. You've been everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I was cornfields in the Midwest for the first 25 years of my life. So
I can see why you like Portland so much.
apparently it's the grass capital, which I never knew, and I'm allergic to grass, which I didn't know until I got there. So
Right.
that was fun.
That's
Yeah.
great.
And so
Great
we
scenario.
we haven't gotten to any of the projects that you're working on. Tell us
Oh,
about your more recent projects.
yes. So I'm always balancing like a billion different things. Let me think. Can't talk about that one. There's a few of them I'm under like NDA sort of things. So I'm working on some VR stuff for a client. There's also a long-term like app, like Domino's app thing. Like I got like involved in this little Domino's project doing just like it was more like art for him, and then I just ended up being like the sole programmer on this thing. So I've been like helping him out on that, and that project is almost near completion. It's been running for a very long time because I drop it when I have like bigger contracts and stuff. And it's
Ah,
been,
okay.
yeah, it's more of a like, yeah, a long-term development thing. So that's almost good. I just pushed updates to our guinea pig bridge app, so we kind of monetize with some ads and stuff now because that's life. You got to monetize.
Right, you got to do it.
I have a long-term project that I absolutely adore and love, but it's big and I can't like I work on it when I can, but it's the sort of thing of like I'm going to probably push it off to publishers soon just to see if there's any interest in it. It's called Wildlife, and it's basically a game in which you're a documentary filmmaker.
Oh wow.
And yeah, you go out into the wild and you find animals and you get like the perfect shots and everything. And it takes like footage inside of the game. And then we've got this whole edit suite back in the studio where you take the clips and you edit them together in kind of a gamified fashion. So you've got like
Ah,
this clip has to have like this has to have like a blue tit and like a red deer or something like that. And it has to be this long and that sort of thing.
yeah.
And then you get points for like cinematography and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that sounds really unique.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like of all the games that we've made, that one when we've done some like kind of like alpha testing and stuff of it of like first builds and like tutorials and stuff, and that's gotten really good feedback. It's the sort of thing where like someone was playing it and they reached the end of the demo and I was talking to their partner and we were chatting and everything, and I turned around and they're playing it again. And I was like, "That's okay. You know, you don't I got your feedback. You don't need to play it again." They're like,
Right.
"Well, I actually missed that squirrel shot, and I really wanna get that and, like, make the thing better." And I'm like, "Okay, now I have a game that people wanna play without me
Yeah.
asking them. That's good."
Right.
So like, how do you I guess gamify cinematography? Like, how are points given? Like
Mhm.
cinematography is like the angles, the lighting, or how is that calculated?
Yeah, so I do have a lot of, metadata that I'm capturing, like, I didn't do it per frame because it was a bit heavy, but I do it every about, like, 10th of a second, and every 10th of a second, it's telling me, "Okay, what's in frame? How close is it? Is it got the proper depth? Like, is it in focus? So, how many subjects what are the subjects doing?" So, like, it gives, like, we have these things called media tags. So if like a bird is like feeding young or something, like you'll see a behavior tag of like, you know, rearing young or something. So what you get points for is okay, how well is it centered? Did you follow it while it did its action? That sort of thing. Were you able to get other subjects in the shot?
Oh, awesome. Like, what do you think about? What do you think is like the really addictive element about this game that like made those beta testers like really latch on? Like,
Well, I mean, just in general, like we watch a lot of nature documentaries. I'm a big fan of like the BBC's kind of mission of like inform and educate
I
and
love those. Yeah. I love
yes.
those.
Yeah, and why do you love them? I mean, it's just we've lost a lot of connection with nature, so people just like animals in general, and then it combines that with just that creative, like, make your own sort of thing. I mean,
There's
a big draw
this
to it is
there's
sharing.
this thing called moving art. Have you ever seen it?
Mhm. No,
Oh, you would love
that's
it. It's
interesting.
it's very meditative, kind of spiritual, but they'll just film in different locations and they have, different camera effects. I forget what it's called, but
Mhm.
yeah, moving art.
Oh, that's really cool. And they, like, put them all together, or
They're
is it all
separate
one shot?
episodes.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
there were, from what I saw, there were 3 seasons.
Mhm.
and it used to be on Netflix, but then Netflix took it off. So I think you have to buy it from the manufacturer.
Oh, okay. Or I'm sure it's online somewhere.
It's got to be, yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure
If
you could
if
find it if you take a little look, for sure.
if all 16 seasons of Great British Railway Journeys is online, you can probably find that. And
Exactly.
yes, I know that's online. So, you said it was called Moving Art?
Mm. Yeah,
Sorry, I'm
moving art.
quick note here. I like to take notes on these things. Both my partner and I have ADHD and a lot of
Ah,
interests, as you can see.
okay.
We don't constrain ourselves, we explore a lot. So whenever I hear something, I'm like, "Oh, I wanna check that out," then yeah, I'm not even half as bad as she is. So there we go. Like, our neighbor keeps pigeons and, like, really fancy, like, racing pigeons, and suddenly now she's super interested in reading about pigeons. So
Oh wow.
you know they have pants. People actually keep them as pets, and they have pigeon pants.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Actually really good pets. They're kinda like cats. They'll, like, snuggle up to you and stuff. Really nice.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
Mhm.
to kind of close this out, like what is your opinion on the future of gaming? Like, okay, we have VR, we have like AI. Like, what do you envision like gaming headed? Like, what is your ideal version of a game in say like 5 years?
This is a hard one. This is one I've been dealing with since my last big conference in, Glasgow in 2024. I was there. It was the, Sci-Fi Con, but I was there actually as a game dev a lot and on a lot of panels. I was moderating some panels, and a lot of it was like, "Game industry's on fire. What do you think?" So, it's hard when you say, "Where is the game industry going?" when down has been the general direction, on fire. What I see with AI, what I hope I'm gonna say what I hope with AI. I hope AI can be seen as a tool to enhance creativity and not replace it, and
Right.
that's what I like to use in my games. If I'm going to use AI in any way, shape, or form, it's always at the beginning of the process to begin that creative journey to creating, like an asset or something like that, but it's not the end of the process. If you put it at the end, then it replaces it becomes the end product and it replaces the thing that it was supposed to be enhancing.
Interesting. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, definitely. But I am excited about some of the tools and stuff, like I think I did that um vocal apps programming today in like half the time by just asking like ChatGPT. I was like, okay, I want to do this. What are some keywords that I need to be looking into? And it's like, use a bandpass filter. And I'm like, I have no idea. I'm going to go look that up. And so it
Right.
enhanced my learning experience a lot quicker.
That's awesome.
Interesting. But Brian, did you have any closing questions?
I guess I like to ask this every now and then, but for the really green person, really, young, very coming into the industry hot,
Yes.
they're looking to break into games specifically, break into games. What is your number one tip for them? What should they really be focusing on, especially
Mhm.
if they're younger and maybe
Yeah.
going into high school or getting out of high school, and they're
Oh,
real
for sure.
serious about games, like what's your recommendation for them?
Okay. So my recommendation here, um, probably not the most popular thing, but don't just make the games that you like. When you become a game dev, you're not making games for you anymore. Enjoy your games, definitely. You can if you're not getting enjoyment out of it, then it's not gonna be a good game. But, you know, I'm not also advocating for chasing market trends, but identifying kind of niches in the market and kind of like, "Oh, this thing hasn't been done before," that is, I think, kind of where you can thrive as a game developer. Otherwise, you enter into a space that's just so oversaturated. It's so hard. That's probably the number one difficulty in making games, and it has nothing to do with making games, is marketing,
Right.
getting people to know your game after you make it. or even during you're making it.
Oh,
So if you,
marketing is everything, even with this
yes,
podcast, marketing. If we didn't have marketing, we wouldn't be here talking to you.
there's a lot of competition for people's attention in today's modern world. So, you need to give them a reason why your thing is like unique and that, they're going to get something out of it. Last piece of advice is just early on in your career, don't discount things. Say yes to everything. Just explore, because you don't know what you're going to do. I mean, that guinea pig game came from a random response on LinkedIn to a completely different job.
Wow.
Yeah, they found out we were game developers. We developed a webcomic game, but then the musician who was doing the webcomic game was like, "You guys are cool. Want to make a game about guinea pigs?" And we're like, "Yeah."
Awesome. No, that's great advice.
And did you want to leave our audience with any closing thoughts, and where can they find you at?
Closing thoughts. You can find us at exploresora.us. That's our main studio website. Closing thoughts, I would just say, hang in there, keep creating, and it goes in this order: do what you love, and then find a way to get paid for doing what you love.
Yep, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, it's awesome having you on, hearing your story. Hey, if you want to come back, we'll have you back to discuss further game development thoughts or whatever.
You should talk to my partner. She might actually be interested in talking to you guys too.
Yeah, or it'd be awesome to get both of you on at the same time.
Oh yeah,
like
we've
a
done
panel.
that too. Yeah, for sure.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah,
Awesome.
let's just keep the open communication, and we'll book something. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you guys were fantastic, and I hope I didn't chat too much.
No, it was
not at all.
Okay.
I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. We'll catch y'all next time.